Yeah, I'm born in China. I grew up in Europe. I'm Canadian, but I lived in South Korea for 18 years, and now I live in Sri Lanka. So I don't know where I'm from. It
I'm a
gets
global
tricky.
citizen.
Yeah, and for me, it's not about being from one place or another place. It's the experiences I take from each place.
Mm,
And the beautiful thing about Canada is we have different time zones.
mm.
So even though it's 8 p.m. in Toronto, it's only 4 p.m. in Vancouver. So you can keep working all night. So I made a crap ton of money as a 19-year-old.
Wow.
And I graduated, and then my boss says, okay, well, you can take your degree and go find a job
Mm,
at this much money, or you can work here for this much money. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to work here for this much.
mm,
To export labor, if that's all you can contribute, then go ahead and do it.
mhm.
But if you're entrepreneurial, if you're smart, you can use AI, you can use data, you can use online, and you can sell your skill overseas while still living here.
Mm.
But you need to work hard. You need to differentiate yourself from every other Tom, Dick, and
Harry.
Hardeep out there, I came back for the weather, for family,
Mm,
and for the opportunity
mm,
to import money into Sri Lanka to help the country.
mm.
And people say, oh, you need to save more. No, don't save more. Spend less.
Right.
That's the trick that we forget. Oh, I want to buy this. I want to buy that. Okay, I'm left with this. I'm going to save that. No. Spend less, you'll have more to save. If
Mm.
you could save money, if I could go back in time when I was 25, I would say spend less. So you need to make money. I need to make money. You have a job. I have a skill. We're a match made in heaven.
Mm,
You're not on AI today and you're under 30 years old. You better jump on board because you can make a crap ton of money and sit on a beach in Hikkaduwa feeding turtles.
Yes.
I thank you for adding me to those list of really wonderful human beings that you've interviewed. They're amazing, amazing people with wonderful stories. Guys, you really
Just like you.
got to watch another video, okay? It's a long video, but the people that you meet on this channel are just incredible people. They've got amazing story and their hearts of gold. Just wonderful people. Thank you.
Yes. Hi, Sam. Welcome to the podcast. What's up?
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever everyone is watching from today. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
My pleasure. Sam, so you have a very interesting profile. Yeah. You were born somewhere. You are a Sri Lankan, born to Sri Lankan parents, but you were born geographically somewhere else and then lived in many different countries as a kid. Ended up in Canada and then Korea, and now finally back to Sri Lanka with us. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Take us on your journeys now.
Well, so let's start from the beginning. I am Sri Lankan by birth, but my dad was a civil servant and he was stationed in Beijing, China in 1968.
Mm,
So my mom and dad, both Sri Lankan citizens, both Sinhalese, both dad's from Gaul, mom's from Colombo.
mm,
And so they moved to Beijing to work. My
mm,
dad did, and my brother and I were both born there. So I was there 4 years,
mhm,
and I spoke Mandarin and Sinhala.
mhm,
Born to Sinhalese passports, Sri Lankan passports.
mm,
Then after 4 years, 2 years in Europe, with 1 or 2 years in Italy, and I went to school, so I learned Italian. And then my dad resigned from there, and his older brother was a Canadian citizen and sponsored us. So after
mhm,
spending about a year in London and Europe, Western Europe,
mm,
we emigrated to Canada in 76. About 2
mm,
years later, I became a citizen.
mhm,
So by the time I was 6 years old, I had lived in 3 or 4 countries, spoken 4 languages, and finally settled in Canada. So that's why my accent is very flat and North American,
Mm,
because I learned English from television, not from my mom or dad. 'Cause
mhm,
they speak with accents. I don't. And then
mhm,
I have my younger brother, 2 years younger than me.
mm. So, last time we were talking, you mentioned that your mom has a British accent and your father sounds like me, like a Sri Lankan.
Yes, yes.
Is this very interesting?
Mom has she went to the I guess you would call it the British schools.
Mm.
Yeah, she's like, would you like some water with your tomato and a potato? And look at the squirrel, And dad speaks like your traditional Sinhalese speaker,
Yeah.
right? But I didn't learn English from them. I learned
Mm.
English from Sesame Street in Canada.
Right.
I we landed in Toronto,
Mm.
uh, Toronto, Earl's Court, downtown Toronto, Italian neighborhood. When I went to
Mhm.
the school, the teacher told my mom, like, listen, he doesn't understand English. So
Mm.
he planted me in front of Sesame Street for weeks, and I picked up the language like that. My brother, not so much, because English is his first language. I'm I eventually ended up learning approximately in my life about 9 or 10 languages. I've lived in my whole life. We'll get to that story, I guess. I've
Yeah.
lived in 10 countries, spoken 9 languages. I've visited about 110 countries. I have 2 passports and 3 permanent residences.
A lot.
An
So Sam,
international man of mystery.
yeah. So Sam, growing up as a kid, growing up in so many different countries, having exposure to so many different languages, suddenly you are in a different whole new setup. How did you feel as a kid?
I didn't feel that much different. I didn't realize that people only lived in one country. I thought it was just
Mm.
normal.
Yeah, you didn't
So
know what is the usual traditional, right? Yeah.
exactly. So as I was growing, and I grew up in a small town north of Toronto. It's only about 2,000 people, very small, small town. But
Mm.
when and as I grew older as a teenager, and I was in a very, back in those days, it was a very white town, not a
Mhm.
lot of immigrants in
Yeah.
those days.
Yeah.
Uh, we emigrated normally, like the way most people, not refugee, not, escaping anything, not economic,
Mm.
just, just trying to get a better life, right?
Mm.
Um, so I didn't see anything different about being from different countries. And a lot of my high school friends,
Mhm.
as I learned after the fact, is that they never really knew I was born someplace else and lived someplace else. Or for
Mhm.
me, oh, where were you? Where are you from? Oh, I'm from here, or I'm from there. But now it's like, yeah, I'm born in China. I grew up in Europe. I'm Canadian, but I lived in South Korea for 18 years, and now I live in Sri Lanka. So I don't know where I'm from. It
I'm a
gets very
global citizen.
yeah, and for me, it's not about being from one place or another place. It's the experiences I take from each place.
Mm.
When I go to a new place, I'm able to just dive right in, like wherever I go. Most recently, Southeast Asia, Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Indonesia. I'm able to just like slide right in and become a local.
Mm, That's beautiful. I ask you because some parents or grandparents, they're worried like, oh, the child is just hopping from one country to another. But from you, what I can see is it made you multilingual, multitasking, and you can just catch up with any culture, a global citizen, like we said. That's
It's
beautiful.
very, it's very interesting that you bring that up, because as we're going to get into it, I teach online to
Mm,
Korean students, and the
mm,
parents are uniquely concerned with multiple languages, because
mm,
not only do they learn Korean and English, they also learn Chinese and a little
mm,
Japanese,
mm,
Mandarin, Mandarin. And the parents are constantly asking, is it going to affect them? I said, absolutely not.
mm,
I speak 9 languages,
mm.
and absolutely not does it degrade your native language. And
Mm.
so the thing is that at that young age, learning is so easy.
Yeah,
So
you're like a sponge.
exactly. And I'm not a neurobiologist, but the when you learn something, you lay down a pathway in your head. And
Mm.
as a child, you have much more room to lay these pathways down.
Mm.
As you develop those skills, you lay down these pathways and they become permanent. Trying to cram more stuff in when you're 40, 50 years, it's not that easy. That's why it's more difficult. And they say it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, while a
Mm.
child can learn something like that.
Yes. Yes.
So my brother is a perfect example. He's much more intelligent than I am, much
Mhm.
smarter than I am, but he doesn't speak. He barely speaks two languages. You try to, and we learned English and French in school. You try to speak French to him. No, he doesn't. He never acquired that skill as a child. I did.
Mm. Mm.
I now, like, recently in Thailand and Philippines and Vietnam, Vietnamese. My first time in Vietnam earlier this year, I picked it up in 2 weeks.
Nice. That's very nice.
So
Yeah, it's a skill knowing many languages. Also, I personally feel like you can enjoy poems and songs from all the languages. It's beautiful. Now, Sam, I'm just curious now. When you moved to an Italian neighborhood in Canada, the Italian you knew from living in Europe, did it help?
I was really young, so it's difficult for me to recall. Plus, it was also over 50 years ago. I'm 56.
Okay.
So you're asking me
Yeah.
something from
Too young.
years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
But from what mom tells me is that I acclimated quite quickly, quite well within the community. And
Mm.
and it was also, you have to remember, it's 1977, 1978, 1976 era, not a lot of immigrants
Yeah,
that
right.
that look like you and me. And to
Mm.
be able to speak the language, their native language, is cute in their eyes.
Mm.
It's the same thing in Korea. When I speak fluent Korean to Koreans, they're like, "Oh wow, brown, and you speak Korean." They're used to Americans or school teachers type of thing.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
It comes off as a cute thing
Mm.
in those days. In those today, it's like
Yeah.
probably no.
No, but this is how we find expats speaking Sinhalese. Well, I can relate to what you're saying.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
So
cute
Sam,
when they say our singular words.
yes. Um, so yeah, sorry. Now I want to know how overall, how was it growing up in Canada? I mean, it was very different than now. No multiculturalism, as we say. Yeah, so
So
share us.
again, you have I landed there. I was 6 years old, 7 years old, and I was there up until I was about 38
Mm.
when I left Canada.
Wow.
So a good 32 years. Um, I spent a few years in Mississauga, big city,
Mm-hmm.
and then in grade seven or eight, we moved to a small town. So I grew up in a small town. So from about 12 years old till 18, so 6 years, was
Mm.
in a small town. I I liked growing up in a small town because I think it gave my parents the ability to let us go and just be on our own.
Mm.
You hear about or Gen X where we just went out, no cell phones, no nothing, and curfew
Yeah.
was when the street lights came on. And
Mm. Mm.
ride our bikes into the forest and build tree forts and go jumping in
Sydney.
streams, fishing. And I lived in farm country. It was
Mm.
nothing for miles and miles and miles. I had a dog that had no leash. It just went. The
Mm.
dog was the size of a house. So um it was I think it allowed my parents to give us my brother and I, the freedom to just explore our lives. Whereas in the city, when we lived in Mississauga, we had a boundary. You could not cross that line.
Mm.
And in our neighborhood, there was a line, you couldn't cross it because
Mhm.
we lived in a big city. It's not. quote unquote safe to, as at
Mm,
that age, to ride your bike around, So
mm,
um, I think that was one of the good things to living in a small town and growing up. Culturally, I again going back, I acclimated very easily, very quickly. And my parents, I mean, they're upper middle class,
mm,
well educated, they both got jobs in the banking sector.
mm,
Um, so, well educated. Do I want to say liberal or do I want to say strict? They had rules. They raised me with rules,
mm,
but I had the freedom to learn, I guess I would say,
mm,
thinking,
mm.
um, if I compared it to the traditional Sri Lankan soap opera parents, I would say not even close.
Okay.
Like you see on the dramas, right?
Yeah.
Not even close. I mean, culturally is and politically, I'm a male, so maybe that's a little bit different,
Mm-hmm.
right? In those days, I don't know. I'm not a parent, so I can't. I don't want to really say one thing or another, but I think overall, my parents allowed us to learn through our mistakes, and they gave us the freedom to. They weren't overly strict.
Mm-hmm. But they did keep the food culture and speaking the native language
Yeah.
and all that in practice, yeah?
Yes. So even today, when, I mean, mom's 80 years old. She doesn't do a lot of cooking these days, but when she does, I'm right at there, ripping into her curry and potato curry and bean curry, just my favorite. We have a
Uh-huh.
full-time cook, but she does not even come close to what mom cooks. And
Yeah.
dad's roti is like world famous. So,
Okay.
I had the Sri Lankan foods all the time. Not we didn't eat Western food. We didn't have meat and potatoes. We had rice, curry, and vegetables all the time,
Mhm.
and spices. So it was,
Nice.
yeah. So let's take a step forward. So, I grew up in a small town called Bradford, which was north of Newmarket. So after high school, I did very well in school. I I don't I didn't have to study very hard compared to everyone. Everyone else had to study, study, study to get a score. Me, I just showed up and I got 80.
Is it the
I just
Asian kid magic? What is it?
I don't know. I don't know. I have I don't want to say I have a photographic memory, but when I read something and I
Mm,
understand it, I know it and I never forget it. I
mm,
never forget it. So um if I do something once, I'll never forget it.
mm,
So that's the kind of way my brain works, I guess.
mm, mhm.
I'm in no ways a genius. I just have a skill I've developed over time.
An intelligent person, let's say.
I don't know. I don't want to say that. I have a skill that others find sometimes a little bit difficult that I have acquired that
Mm,
I find not difficult.
mhm.
That's all it is. Other people, I am terrible at sports. I'm god awful at sports.
Let me
Other
guess, your
people,
brother is good at sport.
yes, yes, he's a very active guy. Me, I'm more technical and technological and
Mm,
on the more technical side of things.
mhm,
He defers to me for Google searches. So,
mhm,
but that's my thing. I love researching and discovering things. So that I guess
mhm,
that's what I learned when I was younger. So after high school, there was university. I moved into the city right after high school. I'm out of the house and straight into university. I moved downtown. I moved into the city. And while I was living, I was working,
mm,
and I discovered that for some strange reason, I was good at sales.
mhm,
Somehow, some way, I had a skill, and I was a telemarketer back in the day, and I was really good at it.
mm,
And I didn't find it difficult. I didn't find it hard. It was easy because there's no overtime. It's like 9 to 5 and that's it. There's no paperwork. It's just, there's no projects due that you have to work overtime to finish, you
mm.
know. And I did that. And as I went to university, I kept working part-time. And the beautiful thing about Canada is we have different time zones.
Mm.
So even though it's 8 p.m. in Toronto, it's only 4 p.m. in Vancouver. So you can keep working all night. So I made crap ton of money as a 19-year-old.
Wow.
And I graduated, and then my boss says, okay, well, you can take your degree and go find a job
Mm.
at this much money, or you can work here for this much money. And I
Mm.
said, okay, well, I'm going to work here for this much. Um, and so then I became full time, and I worked my way up and promotion after promotion. And they sent me to university to get an MBA
Mm.
because I moved into executive level.
Mm.
And I ended my career as VP of sales.
Mhm.
And even to this day, I'm like, people are like, oh, I'm so busy with work. I'm like, I don't understand that, because as a salesman, the job ends at 5. Who are you going to call after 5
Mm.
p.m., right? You can't call anybody. So for me, I loved working as a salesman, and I'm doing it even today as a high ticket closer. I'll get to that.
Mm.
But, you know, sales is all about doing the job at the minute. There's no project that you have to achieve. It's a
Mm.
sales target. So I found it very easy, very motivational, and very financially rewarding.
Mm.
So I did very, very well. I ended up meeting a Polish Canadian girl, and
Mm.
after 10 years of from the time we started dating to the time we ended our marriage was about 10 years.
Mhm.
So that ended, I was about 36, 37 at that time.
Mm.
We had moved from Toronto to the east side, the west side, like Hamilton, Burlington area, and then moved back to Toronto.
Mm.
About a year after we divorced, that was the financial crisis, 2009,
Mm.
2007, 2008. So the big financial crisis. I quit my job because of the stress.
Mm.
Not, it was very, very stressful at that time. I was about 100 kilos,
Mm.
very overweight, ready for a heart attack.
Mm.
And I decided, I'm going to find a job now. I don't have kids. I don't have any responsibility. Not married. My mom and dad are in Sri Lanka.
Mm.
I don't need to take care of anybody. It was just
Mm.
me.
Mm.
So I said, let's find a job where I can like travel, which is one of the things I love to do. So I tried to find a job. Nobody was hiring in those days. I came close, but wasn't happy. And then a longtime friend of mine, a Korean Canadian friend of mine, was in Korea with her Canadian boyfriend and said, you should come out here.
Mm.
With your education, you can make good money. And it's cheap
Mhm.
to live too. So I thought about it, thought about it, thought about it. And about 6 weeks later, I I did it. I sold everything, bought a one-way ticket, first class, and flew out there. And
Mm.
I landed actually 16 years ago this week. 18 years ago. Sorry, 18 years ago this week, I landed in Korea. I
Mm.
landed on a Thursday, I remember. And by the weekend, I knew I was never leaving. And I never left. I
Mm.
haven't been back to Canada.
Mm.
And 3.5 years ago, so in Korea, I found a job as a teacher, which is
Mm.
normal, teaching adults and teaching kids, working freelance. And then
Mm.
eventually I got my paperwork done, and I got a long-term visa, permanent residence visa, and I was working for Asiana during the Olympics
Mm.
as a technical consultant. I worked for the Canadian consulate and embassy during the nuclear summit. Uh,
Mm.
I've done very high level jobs because of my age and education. And
Mm.
some of my students were actually CEOs of some of the biggest companies in Korea.
Mm. And you were
And
mentioning English, yeah?
I don't want to say I'm teaching English like I was an English teacher. That's very misnomer. I was more facilitating, improving
Mm.
the level of English skill that Korean adults already have.
Mm.
30 minutes, 1 hour a day, you're not going to learn English, especially if you're 50 or 60 years old.
Yeah.
You're doing, and I equate this to going to the golf range and just hitting a bucket of balls. You're not going to learn English. You're just going to maintain your level or kind of improve your level that you already have with some
Mm.
minor tweaks. Okay.
Mhm.
That's what I did. That's what an English teacher in Korea does.
Okay.
Unless you're a public school teacher and you're teaching
Yeah.
kids. Okay,
Yeah.
when I'm teaching adults, I'm facilitating maintaining their English level. And
Mhm.
because of my age and because of my education, I was able, and my sales experience in tech, I was able to speak at a level that these executives appreciated. So I was very successful.
Mm.
Got my visa, got my permanent residence, and then somehow I have to take a step back. Back in Canada, I was actually working before high school, before university. I was working in the entertainment industry, in the nightclub industry, in marketing and promotion. So I kind of had that social guy in my background.
Mm.
And when I came to Korea, I kind of hooked up with this Canadian Korean guy who was starting a business, and we were friends, and I used to hang out with him and blah, blah, blah. And eventually it snowballed that I eventually became one of the top entertainment hosts in South Korea
Mm.
at one of the largest nightclubs in Korea, about 2,000 people a night. And I was there for about
Wow.
years. Yeah, I was there for about years. So my job was hosting, basically being the face of the club.
Mm.
I worked at 3 clubs and eventually ended up at a super club. So this was really good. And that's how I developed my persona, Itaewon Sammi. Itaewon is the area of Korea that I lived in, like Gangnam.
Okay.
We all know Gangnam, Oppa Gangnam style. So Gangnam
Yeah.
is a different neighborhood. I lived in Itaewon. I also lived in Gangnam for a short time. So anyway, I lived there. I did this job, and I worked as a teacher as well. And I made crap ton of money. I developed a personality, a reputation. After 18 years, after 16 years of living there, I still have friends that I talk to. I still have friends that I meet. Like I have 3, 4 best friends who we meet at least once or twice a year in Vietnam and Thailand and Cambodia and Laos.
Different locations. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. And I
And
have
it
friends that
leads me to one question, Sam. Um, Going back a little bit, in Canada and Korea both, did you find being a Sri Lankan like it was easy to integrate? I mean, you are personally, I feel like a very friendly, outgoing person. But other than that looking different from them, uh, did you feel like did you face any incidents or it was all smooth for you?
you know, I get asked that quite a bit.
Mm.
And prejudice, racism, ignorance. And Korea is one of the things I loved about Korea that I didn't quite like about Canada. And one of the reasons why I left Canada
Mm.
is that there's too much multiculturalism and too much, in my personal opinion, is like catering to everyone's opinion when
Mm.
Canada is Canada. You come to Canada, you're Canadian. You shouldn't be this Canadian or that Canadian or other thing
Oh,
Canadian. You're Canadian, right? Because
you
that's what
mean
I did.
maintaining each other's culture?
No. Yeah, no, like you have people who are like, I'm Russian Canadian, I'm this Canadian, I'm Australian Canadian, I'm, you know, okay, great. Yeah, celebrate your heritage, your thing, but you're in Canada, you're
Mm.
Canadian.
Mm.
That because that's what I did, right? I
Mm.
became Canadian. I
Mm.
embraced my Canada because that's my home now, right?
Mm.
Even though I'm not born there,
Mm.
even though I never spoke the language natively,
Mm.
even though I have no blood ties to the country,
Mm.
I'm Canadian. You know, uh,
Mm.
how's it going, eh?
Mm.
So, I love poutine and hockey, and I love my toque. You know, so um,
But in Korea, you didn't feel
and in
that.
Korea, a lot of people you'll hear this a lot that
Mhm.
Koreans are racist, and the
Yeah, I heard that.
reality is, yeah, and the reality is they're not.
Mhm.
They're just ignorant because, and here's the facts, someone who's lived there for 18 years and speaks the language and
Mm.
knows only Koreans. I only have Korean friends.
Mm.
After the first year or two in Korea, I lost all my foreigner friends because they left.
Mm.
So all I had left were my Korean friends.
Yeah.
So Korea, when I was there 18 years ago, was 99.5% Korean.
Mm.
Out of 50 million people in the country, less than 1.8 million were foreigners,
Mhm.
non-Korean.
Mm.
Of that 1.8 million, 1 million were ethnic Koreans of Chinese descent. So
Okay.
that's 800,000 foreigners. The largest part of those foreigners are Thai, Vietnamese, Bangladeshi, Indian, Sri
Mhm.
Lankans.
Mm.
The military, American military, is less than 25,000.
Mm.
And teachers, okay, under Korean law, school teachers can only be from 7 countries. Those 7 countries are predominantly white English-speaking countries.
Native speech.
Australia, New Zealand, England, South Africa, Canada, United States, and Ireland.
Mm.
By law, only those 7 countries can teach English. They're the only ones that can get a visa.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone says, "Oh, Sri Lankan can be," you can, but you have to get a different visa. You can't get a teacher's. You have to get married or permanent residence, like
Mm-hmm.
me. Well, no, I have a Canadian visa. Sorry, Canadian passport, so I can teach English. Anyway,
Yeah.
Koreans are ignorant because the only information they receive about foreign cultures, because they're not multicultural country, is through MTV or videos or news.
Or
So they
Hollywood.
don't
Disney.
yeah. Well, today they get all, more,
Mm.
but back then they had no idea. All they see is the American military guys or the, foreigners who come in on vacation or what have you. So they're very ignorant about multiculturalism. So they're not racist or prejudiced. They're just very, and they're not prejudiced. They just rather deal with Koreans than show dishonor to somebody else.
Mm.
Right? So, no, I don't want to deal with you, not because I don't like you, but because if I disrespect you, I will have dishonor in myself.
Okay.
So it's a cultural thing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Westerners take that as prejudice
Mm.
or racism.
Mm-hmm.
So I never felt it. Also, because I didn't act like a foreigner, I acted like a Korean. In the subway, you're quiet. We don't talk on the phone. We don't eat in public. We don't drink in public. You do the things the Koreans do. So, and it helped that I spoke fluent Korean too, as well.
Yeah. I'm sure it does. Yeah. I mean, what options do we have? Your generation, my generation, growing up, we saw the world through Hollywood, Disney, media, news channels, and So some, unfortunately, they showed like very badly, like Arab culture or Asian culture, but some, yeah. So anyway, now fortunately, now we have access to everything, and people travel more now. Yeah.
We're a Granville society these days.
Yes. Which is good. So Sam, so let's come back to the topic of the day. When did you decide to come back to Sri Lanka and why?
All right. So now I'm in Korea. 2008. It's now 2000, 2001. My career is just off the hook. I have no debt. I'm single. I have no obligations. I mean, when I arrived in Korea, it was the first time I'd ever been debt free because I always had credit cards in Canada because I had a great salary. But my credit cards were just ridiculous. I had mortgage, I had car payments, everything like that, right? So you had to work. When I came to Korea, I didn't have to work. I just had to pay for my the way the Korean rental system works is you put them down a huge down payment, like 50,000 to $250,000. And then you live rent free for 2 years.
Oh.
And then you get that money back at the end of your term. The landlord takes that money and uses as collateral on an investment on another property. It's called chonse, right? It can be as little as 10,000 where you still have to pay a little bit of rent, but chonse means I don't pay rent. I pay utilities, but I don't pay rent. But I get that money back. It's secured, it's legal, it's government funded, but that's what I did. So I didn't have a lot of expenses. So I didn't work very hard. And I didn't have to pay for drinks because I worked at a club. I didn't have to pay for socializing. I ran one of the biggest nightclubs in the country. And I was the only non-Korean citizen who worked in a nightclub because the visas are very strict in Korea. People think American visas are hard. No, Korean visas are ridiculously hard. Back then, when I got mine was very easy. Today, it's impossible to get the visa I have. It's it takes 5 to 10 years to get it. I got it in a year, less than a year. So I was working in a club. I was at the height of my career. I was really popular. I was getting offers to do this, to do that. I was on the radio. I was on TV, magazines, internet show things. I was teaching senior executives and CEOs of some of the biggest companies in Korea. I won't tell you who, but I did teach some Hollywood stars who are Korean. Yeah.
Okay. That's
I didn't realize who she was until her husband walked into the room, and then I go, okay, I know who you are. She was a Korean movie star. She was a Korean movie. I knew they were movie stars, but I didn't know who she was. I'm not into Korean cinema that much.
Yeah.
But I was teaching her, and then I saw her husband, who's a Korean American and an American movie star, and then I realized who she was when he walked in the room. I won't drop the name who was, but he's a very famous Korean American movie star. I've taught a lot of the K-pop stars English. I've been to their shows and concerts. I know them all. I've seen them all. Again, because I'm in the entertainment industry. So making money, popular, having fun, and just living life, right? And then our big famous global problem happened in 2001. Right? Don't want the YouTube censors to tag us there, so we're not going to say what it was, but we all know what happened 5 years ago, which shut everything down, especially the entertainment venues.
Yeah.
We tried to open, we tried to work around it, and it kept opening and closing, opening and closing. I just said, forget it. So I went back to teaching, and luckily I was good at teaching online. And I piloted a project with one of my companies, and we shipped it online and was very successful at it. And I was making a killing. So I moved to a smaller house because I had a big house up on the hill and can't have anybody over because of our global situation. So I said, why do having this huge house? I can't invite anybody over. So I moved to a smaller house in Gangnam. And then again, it's like, this is not ending. I thought it would take a year, but now we're in year 2. I said, you know what? I have a very successful online business.
Yeah.
Why am I spending money living here and I'm stuck inside the house? I can't go outside. Let's pack up and go home. I can make the same amount of money and spend only 10% of what I'm spending here. Living in Korea is very expensive.
Yeah, right.
If you have to pay for rent, the food and electricity and the transportation cost, the food costs are ridiculous. So, I'm not paying rent, but I'm spending about $1,000 to $2,000 a month on expenses because I'm not going to eat ramen and crackers. I'm going to have fruits. I'm going to have meat. I'm going to have healthy food. At my age, you have to eat healthy. And I don't need.
And the boy, you grew up with the home cooked Sri Lankan meals.
and the thing is that I like tropical fruits, pineapples, papaya, mango. Those are expensive. Those are expensive. winter fruits in Korea, apples, oranges, pears. I don't like those. I don't.
Yeah. Same problem I have. I miss tropical. They're so expensive and not even close to what we have. Like,
I just go out here on the road and I get a mango for 50 cents.
Sam, I'm
So
curious to know something. Now, all these time you were talking about the life in Canada and Korea, right? But before that or during this period, how many times did you visit Sri Lanka on vacations with your parents or by yourself?
good question. Up until the time I returned, I
Mm,
could probably count on my hand the number of times I came to
mm.
Sri Lanka. So in Canada, when I lived in Canada, maybe twice.
Oh,
Once when I was about 12 years old, 13 years
mm-hmm,
old for the summer.
mm-hmm,
Another time when I was about 2021
mm-hmm.
for about 6 weeks.
Mm,
Then when I moved to Korea, every year for Christmas, I would come for 2 or 3 weeks.
mm-hmm. I have a question now. When you visited when you were in Canada, right? Twice. How did you feel about Sri Lanka? Especially back then.
When I was 10 or 12, I don't really remember. I remember it as an adventure.
Mm.
I remember
Like
going to the
outing holidays.
yeah, it was a holiday. My first real holiday away from
Mm,
Canada. Going
mm.
to the beaches, seeing the elephants, seeing the double-decker buses. It was it had to be
Yeah.
1980,
Mm.
the noise and the food and the heat. That's what I remember. When I was 20-ish, when I came then, it was all about, enjoying the nightlife, the entertainment, partying, and because I was working in a club at that time as well.
Mm.
And I remember going to the Blue Elephant at the Taj Samudra.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going to Golf Face Green and going to having high tea at Golf Face Hotel. There was no, you know, the Taj and the Golf Face Hotel were the two big ones at the time.
Yeah.
So I remember going to those with my cousins who
Mm.
were me. I'm the youngest cousin. So I
Mm.
remember my cousins taking me out and having fun and enjoying it. So for me, again, it was like a Caribbean vacation for me at
Mm.
that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
When I was 38, 39, and I was living in Korea,
Yeah.
and I was coming back because it's a short hop. It's very easy. Coming back here, then it was more about connecting with family,
Mm.
connecting with the relatives, with mom and dad, because now they're getting older.
Mm.
Doing the trips, meeting my brother because he lived in Canada, so we would like join up, right? Every year, once a year, meet up.
Mm.
Sometimes in
Mm.
Sri Lanka, sometimes in Thailand, sometimes in Philippines,
Mm.
sometimes wherever, but halfway, so that we
Mm.
all meet up. So,
Mm.
um, what did I think? Again, for me, it was a vacation.
Mm.
Staying at the hotel, staying at my parents' house, going to visit my cousins, going to restaurants, eating the food, experiencing the culture,
Mm.
but as a tourist,
Mm.
you know, because at that time I did not have a citizenship.
Mm.
So I'm paying the foreigner prices.
Mm.
I'm a foreigner.
Mm.
I didn't I didn't speak Sinhala that well.
Mm.
But now I got my Sri Lankan citizenship about 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You can reclaim through birthright.
Mm-mm.
I can maintain my dual citizenship. So now I have my dual citizenship. I have
Mm.
my national identity card. I have a driver's license. I have a tax identification number. I have a bank
Mm.
account. I have all of those things.
Mm.
Um, I also hold a Canadian passport, but I
Mm.
am technically what we call a non-resident citizen,
Okay.
which
That.
means under Revenue Canada, I do not have to file taxes
Okay.
because I hold no assets in Canada.
Mm.
Other than my Canadian pension, which comes in a few years, my
Mm.
government pension, I have no bank accounts, no ID, no health card, no driver's license, no bank accounts, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I'm a non-resident citizen. I do not have to file taxes. I
Mm-hmm.
hold Korean permanent residence,
Mm.
hold a Thai long visa,
Mm-hmm.
and when I go back to the Philippines this year, I will reacquire my long visa in Philippines. I'm going to work towards that.
Good luck. So,
It,
Sam, moving to Sri Lanka, right? Um, was it only about this the global situation in Korea? And say you thought like, okay, I could save a lot of money by just living there, and of course the availability of fruits and that. Other than that, was there any other reasons to move?
yes. So here's where your listeners are going to really find out a little bit more. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I did in my life was leading up to this point.
Mm.
And I have to be blessed to have this dual citizenship, Canadian and Sri Lankan.
Mm-hmm.
If I had Australian and Sri Lankan or UK and Sri Lankan, that second citizenship
Mm.
has cemented the opportunities that being Sri Lankan can provide. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I know that a lot of Sri Lankans want to go away. And then, because especially what happened 2 years ago, they want to go away, earn money, and put it back. So here's where I have two opinions. Okay,
Mm.
to export labor, if that's all you can contribute, then go ahead and do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're entrepreneurial, if you're smart, you can use AI, you can use data, you can use online, and you can sell your skill overseas while still living here.
Mm.
But you need to work hard. You need to differentiate yourself from every other Tom, Dick, and
Married.
Pardeep out there.
Mm-hmm.
Every other South Asian from Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, and Sri Lanka that is selling their skills online.
Mm.
So, I think one of the best ways is to maybe go out overseas for a short time,
Yeah.
develop that skill set and that networking, and then come back.
Mm.
Why I came back is not several reasons. Number one, I hate the cold. Even though I was born in cold country, I was born on Christmas Day in China, cold. I grew up in Canada, cold. I hate the cold. So since I moved to Sri Lanka, I've never experienced cold. It's like 22 degrees. It was cold in New
Yeah.
In Ella and New it was 22 degrees. I was shivering. Okay. So I don't like the cold. That's one reason. No more winter. Number two, taking care of mom and dad when they're in their mid to late 80s. So being here, not to physically take care of them, but to be here for them.
Yeah.
We've hired people to take care of them.
Mm. Which is also affordable comparing to Canada or Korea, I believe, right?
Mom was just talking, even with they have 3 pensions, 2 government pensions, 2 job pensions.
Mm.
All that money and their assets, they would have never been able to survive in Canada.
Right.
Never, even owning their own home.
Mm.
She says, absolutely not.
Mm.
She said, with the pensions that she has, living like kings here.
Mm.
No worries whatsoever. So I came back for the weather, for family, and for the opportunity to import money into Sri Lanka to help the country.
Mm.
Every penny I earn, so I'm earning money from the UK and from Korea. That money comes into Sri Lanka, sits as in a US dollar account, and then I disperse it into my Sri Lankan accounts. So I have a brokerage account where I invest in Sri Lankan securities, which we're now into a year, almost 2 years, and I am combined about 55% profit in the Sri Lankan stock market. And they pay dividends, and I'm invested in companies. Gold, which is smart for anyone, and term deposits at the bank. All structured, legal, entities
Mm.
so that I can earn passive income. So that in 2 years, I have a target of, I know exactly how much it costs for me to live 3 months in Thailand, 2 months in Vietnam, 6 months in Philippines, and the rest in Sri Lanka. I know exactly how much it costs a year. So I have a magic number of interest, not capital, interest from the gold, from the stocks, from the term deposits, how much I have to earn in interest per year to live that year doing what I want to do.
Right.
If I don't earn that much, well, then I don't go. I stay 6 months in Sri Lanka instead of 3 months. So that's the idea here, is to be self-sufficient. How can your listeners achieve that? I talk about that a lot on my YouTube channel, Sri Lankan Sammi.
The link is on the bio.
Thank you. I talk a lot about being an expat and how someone can be an expat in their home country. Okay. What you need to do. And I say, well, first of all, you need to cut your expenses. People say, oh, you need to save more. No, don't save more. Spend less.
Right.
That's the trick that we forget. Oh, I want to buy this. I want to buy that. Okay, I'm left with this. I'm going to save that. No. Spend less, you'll have more to save. If you could save money, if I could go back in time when I was 25, I would say spend less. This is political, not political, this is social, but don't have kids. Very expensive. Very expensive. Yes. Don't have kids for the sake of having kids. Have kids with a budget in mind.
If you really want it.
If you really want kids, make sure that you can provide for the kids, not after the fact, before the fact.
Not
Okay?
because the parents are waiting for someone, or in-laws are waiting, the neighborhood. That's the Sri Lankan culture, you know.
Yeah.
Cities for other people. We dress up for other people, not for us.
I'm 56 and you know, I don't have kids, and mom is like, you're gonna have kids? I'm like, yeah. One day after you pass away, I'll have kids. As a joke. I say it as a joke to her. I say it as a joke. He knows I'm not going to have kids. We joke around. We have a great relationship about that. But she realized that I am not someone who is interested in sacrificing. I would be a great father. But I believe in the traditional family. There has to be 2 people in the family. They have to be in love with each other, and they have to care about each other.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
have to be devoted to each other, and they have to be financially, intellectually, and stable. Then you bring this craziness of a child into that. If there are problems in any of the 3 areas, mental, physical, financial, if there are any problems in any of those 3 legs of that stool, and a child comes in and knocks it over, that stool is going to fall over. Okay? It's not going to survive.
Let the viewers decide. But on the Sri Lankan context, I can say, maybe if you really want to have kids, don't have it just because somebody else is expecting you to have, right? Analyze, like Sam said, the situations, and then decide. Yeah. We were talking about working online. Yeah.
Yes.
Now people think like Sri Lankans, no, they might not hire me. I don't have any skills, but there are many platforms just for teachers or people who can do IT, you know, in IT industry, designing, animation. There is so much more. Do you have any idea like how people can find work online? Have you observed anything living in Sri Lanka now?
So I am ignorant about that because I brought my business over from Korea.
Yeah.
Now, the job I recently got, I kind of was very lucky to get it. I'm a high ticket closer. So basically what I do is I work for a UK company
Mm.
and it's a two-man operation, and he sells physiotherapy online.
Mm.
So he developed a website and he target ads to people. They
Mm.
go onto the website, they enter their information because they're looking for more information. My job is to close them to buy his service. So
Okay.
they already have physical injuries, etc., like that. So my job is to sell them, and so I get a commission from every
Mm.
sale. And
Mhm.
because I have that skill set, and because I'm not cold calling,
Mm.
I'm talking to people who have actually entered their information, asking for more information. So I'm a high ticket closer. I've been doing that for a while. I found that job online,
Mm.
and I used ChatGTP. I have a paid license of ChatGTP.
Mm.
I've been using years to do my reporting for my student evaluations.
Mm.
Work smarter, not harder. And I crafted and engineered a resume and a cover letter for his business
Mm.
using ChatGTP. And he says, "You use ChatGTP for this?" I said, "Yes." He says, "That's good because we use ChatGTP in our business."
Mm.
And
Before it's illegal, guys.
yeah, so it's not illegal to use it. It's just,
Yeah, I'm saying in the future it might the
yeah, I mean, you don't pass it off as your work. You pass it off as a tool to help you. It's a spell checker. That's all it is.
Mm.
So
Mm.
um, I found it online on a Facebook groups page.
See?
And yeah, and I said, when I after the fact, after he hired me, he said, "How many people did you interview?" He said, "You were the first one."
Mm.
He says, "Your interview, like, was, you killed it."
Mm.
Right. And I in my life, I don't think I've ever failed an interview. If I get an interview, I always win the job
Mm.
because I'm a salesman. That's what I do.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, why do you want this job? Well, because you have a need and I have a skill and you want to pay me and I want to make money. I mean, I could lie to you and say I'm, altruistic, No, you need to make money. I need to make money. You have a job. I have a skill. We're a match made in heaven. So, I don't believe in these, touchy feely kinds of things. I'm a very straightforward kind of person. If I don't like you, I'll tell you. If I don't like you, I'll go to another job. And that's
Mm.
the beauty of being financially independent.
True, that's very true.
And also kind of being separated from my family, which is something that your viewers might have trouble in breaking, that
Mm.
family bond, that ingrained cultural tie that we have to our family. I see it in my cousins, and my cousin just got married. They
Mm.
still kind of technically live at home, even
Mm.
though they have their own homes. You know, um, the grandmother and the daughters live in the house. Um, the daughter's husband lives in the house, and the kids stay, but not all the time.
Mm.
My cousins live in the house with my mom's sister, who's my aunt, in the
Mm.
same house that my mom grew up in.
Mm.
So
Mahal
it's a different time, a different culture. And
Mm.
what I tell them, what I tell my friends, I don't have to tell that to my parents. I tell to my friends who have very strong cultural family ties. I say
Mhm.
to them, what do I tell my parents when they say, "I want you to do this, I want you to do that"? I would say, honestly, it's not an easy conversation to have, but you need to have it. And the thing is like, I didn't ask you to give birth to me. I thank you so much for everything you've done, but it was your choice to do it. I did not have any say in it. You did me an honor by teaching me right, by raising me well, by feeding me, clothing me, and educating me. And I thank you till the day I die for that. But let me ask you a question. Did you have me, number one, to be a clone of you or to be better than you?
Mm.
Now, let me ask you, if I do everything you say without question, how will I learn when you're gone?
Mm.
Because
I've done it now.
one day you will be gone. And
Mm.
if I don't learn now and have you to catch me when I fall, what will I do when you're gone?
Mm.
That's what I say. And that's what I think people should start thinking about.
Mm.
When I was learning to ride my bike, you were there to catch me. You let me go. Let me go now.
Mm.
And when I fall, please be there to catch me.
Mm.
I think that that's a very unique way that our culture and our people should evolve our parents.
Mm. Right. I mean, as a Sri Lankan, I felt like my son is saying this to me, but then there is a point when I'm an adult, I want to figure out things myself, right? Stan, you were also offered a job in Sri Lanka. Before I forget to ask you this.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I arrived in February
Mm.
2022. Was it February 20? Just before the political situation happened, like a few months before the political situation.
Okay.
So I landed, and I had Sri Lankan friends that I had met in Korea, entertainment friends.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them is like the head of. He runs the Sri Lanka's Got Talent show. I don't know, whatever show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's one of the big guys there. And I met him in Korea. So when I came back to Sri Lanka, I was hanging out with him because I said, "Hey, I'm in Sri Lanka. Let's have lunch." So we went to Pali's and had lunch, and we met at the Shangri-La. So we met at the Shangri-La. We had lunch at the Shangri-La, and we're hanging out there and we're talking. And it's just like, I have a friend who's running a beach bar at Port City. I should introduce you. So I went and met with them, and I had conversations with them, and we talked, and they offered me a job. And I took the job offer to my cousins, and because I didn't know, I'm here 6 weeks, and she's looking at us. You're not even here a month, and you have this job. She's looking at me like this is my second cousin. So they're in their like 30s. They're in their like 30. This is my cousin's daughter. So she's an executive at a company as well. So she's looking at this job offer and she says, "This is a good job offer." And I looked at it and I converted it into US dollars. And I'm like, yeah, but I make that in like 2 days.
Working online.
Working online like 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Hey, in my sarong, drinking coconut water and, eating curry. But, it's like the reality is that if you are a Sri Lankan citizen and you live here, you're going to be living at home with family. You're going to be taken care of, and you're going to have the opportunity to get a good job to develop your skills. You can take those skills, your language skills, your education, and your practical skills, and you can export, right? Because there are people out there who are willing to pay for global workers. And it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter where you're from. And here's the thing. Whereas a Sri Lankan might think that, 500, 800 US dollars a month is a lot of money. A German person might not.
Yeah, true.
Okay. A Vietnamese person might not. So a Sri Lankan will take that job and earn a huge amount of money and import that money into Sri Lanka, building our future, our country. Every dollar that is imported is pure profit.
Yeah. Every support for the country at this moment, yeah?
And every rupee earned is only a small, minuscule increase.
Yeah.
Compared to bringing in net new revenue versus growth revenue. So bringing in money, that's how the Philippines success. Their GDP, a huge part of it is from imported money from the exported labor. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting not into the intellectual side of our people. Our people have some of the best universities in Southeast Asia. highly educated. And we work very, very hard. I see the students going to school 7 days a week, studying, and we have a high literacy rate, and we have the IT sector. And the beautiful thing about the IT sector is you don't need to be in Silicon Valley to learn. You can do it online.
Yeah.
It just takes time.
Yeah.
And then you can export that, and then you can go overseas, and you can earn the money. You can get a visa, work in Germany, work in Australia, work in any country in the world, and then come back and then export your knowledge and your experience and your networking. We're still tied a little bit to the cultural past where we have to kind of network.
Yes.
That brick and mortar style. The world still works on a handshake. But there's something to be said about hitting the bricks and working full time to find a job. Finding a job is a full-time job. So I'm kind of lazy. I could look for another job and work a little bit more, but I'm lazy. I don't have any motivation anymore because I'm set. But others,
Yes. The
there's
family.
one piece. Yeah, if there's one piece of advice I could give to my brothers and sisters in Sri Lanka, is set yourself a goal and then work backwards from that goal. That's the one way I've succeeded personally. Is I set myself a goal and then I work backwards. And I have an Excel spreadsheet that shows me my target. I see that target and I see the minus. And it keeps reducing every day. That number gets smaller and smaller, and like the thermometer that we used to do in each school when you earn the money for the fundraiser. The higher it goes, the closer you are to your goal. I have that, and it's showing me how close I am to achieving what I love, my goal, which is like traveling the world and doing what I want without any worries.
Sam, before I move on to the next question, right, I just want to add something here. I've lived in UAE for more than 12 years. And I can say I am a not big fan of exporting labor. I didn't know how to put it. Exporting labor, which is what Sri Lanka does. We need the money coming from outside, I don't know, or we could do it from inside. But I feel like we do have, like you mentioned beautifully, we do have talents. We just have to do it in a different way. Like even why I'm so keen on inviting the Sri Lankans to come back, because you can bring a total, like a whole business to Sri Lanka and employ our people, not just go work in, like, especially in the case of Middle East, you go, you work your ass off, you save up some money to build a small house in Sri Lanka. Imagine you get some knowledge here and come and start a company and you employ other Sri Lankan. Nobody has to go out. I mean, yes, this is another thing. When I say people take it wrong as I'm saying don't travel, or no, we have to travel, but not as laborers, but as backpackers, as tourists. We need to come to that level that we can just travel like everybody else. Yes, not just to work for other people, especially in these kind of jobs. I mean, no discrimination, but I've seen enough in the Middle East. I can always say that I've seen our Sri Lankans not doing that great in the Middle East, and it breaks my heart. And these are very skillful people.
Same in Korea. Korea has the second largest Sri Lankan population. There are so many Sri Lankans in Korea that the Sri Lankan embassy, opened a consulate in the southern city to service the Sri Lankan citizens. Because they all work in the
this has become a goal now. Like they're romanticizing going to Korea and working in the farm in horrible conditions, or going to Japan. I know a person, I met him in Vikadua. He speaks very good English, a young guy, probably when I met him, not even 20, in his 20s. Very good English. He was a good staff in the restaurant we went. He had to go to Japan. And then recently I was talking to him and he said, I'm suffering here, sis. I just want to come back. I miss my family. I miss the respect I had before, So this breaks my heart. These are young, talented, very talented people. They don't deserve to work in farm. They could do something on their own.
I agree
Nobody's
100%.
telling them this.
Exactly. But there is an area where unfortunately, we have underskilled people in this country.
Mm. Yeah.
And
That's true.
to support them would put a social strain on our infrastructure.
Mm.
And the short-term solution is to export our labor.
Yeah.
But we have to do it in the right way. One of the business plans I had years ago was to develop a visa and training company between Sri Lanka and, unfortunately, the Korean government
Didn't.
changed the rules
Mm.
and doesn't allow that anymore. They didn't allow private companies to do it. I had contacts because I knew all the CEOs of all the companies. So I spoke directly to them. I said, listen, you need workers. I have people who will come. You sponsor the visa, I'll send them over. We were ready to sign, and the Korean government changed it because of corruption and
Yeah, I understand.
misuse and human trafficking and all of that. So they institutionalized it and made it a government program, so that there's no fraud or things like that. So that business plan I had, that was going to be my company.
Maybe now would be a good time since the administrations have changed.
Yeah, it's from the Korean side.
Okay.
From the Korean side, and there is a Sri Lankan side to it as well. It's like it's already entrenched. It's been now like 6 years. The government agency, it's not going to change. It's not going to change it, unfortunately. But
well, to our viewers, I have to say what we are talking about right now is that
getting those.
We are not discriminating anybody, but what I'm trying to say is, let's make bosses than workers, right?
So, and I like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Get these entrepreneurs who are smart.
Yeah.
Today, a lot of people want to invest money. A lot of expats have come back. They have, and they have all this money, and they want to invest it.
Yes.
They can't invest it overseas. They want to invest it here. This is the perfect time to network and get that money, get that venture capital for your business. Hire Sri Lankans who work cheaper than people in Germany or UK or America for the same skill set, developing, designing, IT, AI. AI is the future. If we don't embrace it today, don't embrace it today, if you don't embrace it in the next week, if you don't embrace it in the next 6 weeks to 6 months into your daily life, you are going to be lost come next year.
Yeah, as a country, we were lost when it comes to technology. Now, this milestone, we shouldn't lose it. Yeah. And now nobody cannot even say that, oh, I don't speak English in Sri Lanka anymore. There are so many software programs to translate.
So many tools. You don't even need to speak. No. So I'm actually working on a project because of the way our program is that sometimes I have to leave a voicemail. So I'm working on a project with another AI tool to generate a very natural sounding, my voice, natural sounding script where I just push a button and it just sends the message in my voice. So AI generates the script, AI creates the prompt, and AI sends the voicemail. So I'm sitting here and the tool will actually dial the person. If it's live, it'll send it to me. If it's voicemail, the tool already sends a voicemail message. So if you're not on AI today and you're under 30 years old, you better jump on board, because you can make a crap ton of money and sit on a beach in Hikadua feeding turtles.
Yes.
The dream. The dream.
Yeah. We don't have much time, so I'm going to ask you the last question. Yeah. Now, when I speak to people who approach me in this channel, or they just curious what on to like find out what I'm doing, they always ask me. I mean, generally Sri Lankans feel like running away to a, or maybe having a chance of going to a Western country, settling down there is the best thing and is the future, right? So people who did this, like confused, like whether to come back or not, they always have this idea that back home in Sri Lanka, life is not going to be as comfortable as a developed country or Middle East even, or as safe as other countries, or how do I say, the healthcare and everything, the education. How do you observe this?
All right, I'll use a real life example. My personal experience, I can get to that.
Mm,
Let's look at America and Korea,
mm,
two of the top Western style countries in the
yeah,
world.
yeah.
Okay, Korea is the 11th strongest economy in the world.
Economy, yeah.
Okay, it is modern, it is Western, high level of living. It is the future. Everything comes from Korea. Your TVs,
Mm,
your fridges, smartphones, everything comes from that.
mm,
I had a friend, an acquaintance, who came from America, and within 6 weeks to 6 months said, I can't, I gotta leave. I don't like it.
mm,
So it doesn't matter whether you come from a rich country or a poor country or what have you. It's here and here.
yeah. Mm,
Okay. You have to be open.
mm,
Can't go to Germany and expect, sinisambo, fresh. Okay.
yeah.
It's not going to happen. Okay. You can, even if you went to a Sri Lankan restaurant, it won't be the same.
Mm,
Okay. And if that is your idea of going and exporting your life to another country, you're setting yourself up for failure.
mm,
Taking a step outside of your comfort zone is a risk and a challenge and a sacrifice. So you
mm,
have to go into it with an open mind. Coming to Sri Lanka, I've had to give up. I've had to sacrifice. I cannot get a good steak.
mm,
I can't get scallops. Healthcare is amazing, but I
mm,
have to pay, which is a good thing because I don't have to wait for it.
yeah. And you don't pay not even close as
Oh
much
my
as
God. I just had an MRI. It cost me 75 US dollars. And I booked it
Mhm.
in. My supplements cost me less than 50 cents a day.
Mm,
Now, unfortunately, knock on wood, I'm not on any hypertension, diabetes, high blood pressure, none of that stuff.
mm,
Okay. I just, I have a small pain in my neck from
mm,
a nerve cage. So I'm getting that treated. I
mm,
was thinking about getting surgery, but I'm just going to have to get a shot. It's going to cost me $20. That's it.
mm, mm,
Uh,
mm,
Getting my teeth cleaned is $20. In Canada, it's $200. Getting my glasses was $60. It'd be over 400, 500 in Canada.
mm, mm,
So healthcare here is finding the right doctor and paying for it. Now, obviously, because I'm financially stable, I can afford to pay for it. But even without it, our workers who we take to the public hospitals, they get treated perfectly and they get everything paid for. Their medication, everything is paid for by the government. So
mm,
as a Sri Lankan, as a citizen, you're taken care of by our country.
mm,
As an expat coming here, the small sacrifices you can live without.
mm,
The bigger picture of stress, health, and family more than make up for it.
mm.
In my opinion, this was something I should have probably done. Maybe instead of 3 years ago, I should have done it like 5 to 8 years ago.
Mm, mm. But it's never late.
Pardon me?
It's never too late.
It's never too late. No, but I should have come back maybe a few years earlier. I should have made that decision, pulled the trigger a few years earlier. I would
I
have been
feel the
much,
same, Sam.
I would have been much happier. I would have been much thinner by now. Eating the food that I eat here,
Yeah.
so healthy, so healthy. I used to have high blood pressure and hypertension, cholesterol. Now all gone just from eating.
And we pick fruits from our garden and just bite on it. Imagine.
This morning I had a huge cup of tembele of coconut water that was cut from the tree with the flesh.
Yes.
Our houseman cut it from the tree, cut the thing and poured it and brought me a glass in the morning. I was like, oh, you went for tembele. No, this came from the tree outside. I'm like, we have umbrella. We grow vegetables in the garden.
Mm.
Oh, it's just amazing. But we have on my channel, I'm sponsored and I'm monetized on my channel. The money that I make from YouTube and from sponsors, I have buy me a coconut. If you buy me a coconut, what I do is I go to the farmer's stall, not the grocery store. I go to the farmer's stall and I buy from that. These are guys who bring it in from the north.
Yeah.
Right? And I buy it from them. And I mean, you got to be careful because it doesn't last as long because it's not from the farm. But, it's delicious and it's fresh and it's good.
Yeah. And he has to run a family with it, so.
Yeah. And I'm supporting the local guys.
Yes.
Instead of John Keels. So.
Oh, John. I mean, I don't know. So, guys, check out Sam's channel. He's doing a wonderful job, and it's so cute. It's so interesting. It's so funny sometimes. And
your channel is great too. I watched your videos, and the people you have on are wonderful human beings.
Yeah, I'm so blessed. Thank you.
I thank you for adding me to those list of really wonderful human beings that you've interviewed. They're amazing people with wonderful stories. Guys, you really got to watch another video, okay? It's a long video, but the people that you meet on this channel are just incredible people. They've got amazing stories and their hearts of gold. Just wonderful people. Thank you.
Yes. My pleasure, Sam. Really, yours is interesting too, and it's gonna be a long one. And I just want to say thank you again. And people are gonna watch this channel through me, I hope. And I just want to remind that I also have a new channel where I do videos in Sinhalese and Tamil. I talk about social issues in Sri Lanka, like you mentioned before, parenting, what things can we improve? I mean, we don't have to totally eradicate our culture, but there are some elements that we should lead back, for the betterment of our children's mental health and everything else. So I talk about those things in the Sinhalese and Tamil channel in both languages. Also, I am now currently recording interviews of people who've been into Middle East and these countries who don't speak English very well. So might be a good idea to check that out too. And thank you, Sam. You're so interesting. My husband says we are already making friends through this channel. So I can't wait to come and have a coffee.
I sign off on my channel. I say we are not strangers. We are just friends who have not met yet.
Yes.
And I will leave one thing with your viewers. I'll say this. If you need to talk to someone other than family or friends, please reach out to one of us. Reach out to someone who doesn't have a bias, an agenda, or any kind of thing, and listen truly to like us or someone. Reach out to someone who isn't a friend or isn't a family member.
Yeah.
And
you were perfect because you know why? I have me and some other Sri Lankans who are in the channel have this Sri Lankan sentiment, but you are like a proper global citizen. You could see it in many different angles,
I'm an alien.
No. I wouldn't say that.
No, I don't mind it. I don't mind that. I am a very unique person, and I've learned from my experiences that this uniqueness makes me special and valuable.
Yes. Very.
I can exploit that. And use it to my benefit. So I think the last thing I want to say, keep talking too much. That's one thing, is I love to talk.
Oh,
I came to Sri Lanka is that I want to help my country.
Yes.
And I
Definitely.
feel that because of my experience, my life, my culture, I can connect with the people here because I'm Sri Lankan, because I speak Sinhala, that I can try one person at a time to make my homeland and where I came from and
Mm.
honor my ancestors by trying. That's
Yeah.
all I can do is try. And
Yeah.
and I hope your viewers will listen to us and try harder.
Yeah. 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 Okay. I'm also thinking to start a forum, but it might take some time because we are moving to Sri Lanka finally in just less than 2 weeks. So fingers crossed.
We'll see you soon, right?
And
We have some roti and sambal ready for you.
thank you. All right then. Have a very nice day. Go home, Stuti.
Thank you.